Josh Giddey is a star in the making. Ever since Giddey got drafted to the Thunder, he's been nothing short of impressive. The wide array of skills that this guy has, alongside with his basketball IQ, which is top notch, has been incredible to watch. And due to that, the sky's the limit for this guy going forward. But quickly, before we get the video started, for those of you who may not know, I'm Juicy Sports, I make opinionative NBA content, and if you guys enjoy videos similar to this, hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that post notification bell. I also want to quickly mention that I recently started up an MMA channel, and if you guys are interested in that, the link will be in the description. But anyways, let's get into it. Josh Giddey was drafted with the number 6 overall selection during the 2021 NBA draft by the OKC Thunder. And originally when Giddey was going into that year's draft, he was seen as a player that was very talented, had a bunch of different skills, but the main thing that teams were very excited about was his passing and playmaking and his overall basketball IQ. He was seen as a player that just made everybody around him better. And the fact that he was a little bit bigger, but he did play like a point guard, was perfect for the new age NBA. When you look around the league, we're seeing more and more players that are bigger in size, like small forwards, maybe even a tall shooting guard, but they play as the point guard of their team. The most obvious is LeBron James, but also Giannis Antetokounmpo does a great job of this. Luka Doncic, although he is, I guess, a little bit smaller than those other two guys, but he does have great size to him. There's just a bunch of different players in the NBA who aren't traditional point guards, but basically play that point guard position for their team. So the fact that Josh Giddey was seen as one of those guys, at least in terms of his passing and playmaking ability, was certainly seen as very valuable. And once it came around to his rookie season, a lot of the abilities that people were excited about going into the NBA were starting to translate very well. In his rookie year, he averaged 12 points per game on 41% shooting from the field, 7.8 rebounds on 6.4 assists. Now, obviously, when you look at those numbers, they don't necessarily jump out at you, but I would say they're certainly solid numbers. But the real exciting part about Giddey was when you watched him out there on the court. It was pretty clear that this guy was a special talent. I did mention that Giddey wasn't necessarily known for his scoring, but he did have some ability, but that ability did translate to the NBA pretty well. In his rookie season, he had a decent ability to drive all the way to the basket and finish around players with crafty layups. He also had a decent ability to shoot from that mid-range area. He didn't shoot a great percentage from 3, only shooting around 26% from deep, which obviously isn't good whatsoever, but I did think he had the ability to shoot from there, just needed to improve as years do progress. But overall, in terms of his individual scoring ability, I would say he did a nice job in his rookie year. But of course, the main reason why the OKC Thunder drafted him was due to his passing and playmaking ability. And that ability translated phenomenally in the NBA. He was doing a lot of the same things that he was doing before the NBA with the OKC Thunder, and honestly, he probably improved in some of those aspects as well. He was doing a phenomenal job at both running the pick and roll and the pick and pop. He was doing a great job at facilitating for his teammates in general, always making his teammates' lives out there easier. And overall, it was pretty clear that he had a special level of basketball IQ and just a great understanding of where his teammates were going to be out there in the court to make the right passes at the right time. And after that rookie season, a bunch of OKC Thunder fans especially were starting to get very excited about this guy. And in his second season, which is this season, he bumped up his numbers across the board, averaging 16 points per game on 48% shooting from the field, 8 rebounds on 5.8 assists. Now, I would certainly say the biggest improvement from year 1 to year 2 for Giddey has certainly been his scoring ability. This season, he's doing a much better job at shooting that 3-point jump shot, averaging around 33% from deep, which once again isn't all that good, but when you compare it to what he shot in his rookie year, only 26%, it is a nice improvement. But this season, I would say Giddey has a decent ability to catch and shoot from that 3-point range, even cross over into a 3-point jump shot, and sometimes even sidestep. But from that mid-range area, Giddey still has that nice ability, especially when running the pick and roll or pick and pop. He has that really nice one dribble pull-up from that mid-range area. I would like to see him add some other aspects to his game, like that post turnaround fadeaway, but overall I would say he has a decent mid-range game. But once driving all the way to the basket, Giddey does a really nice job at putting up that floater in the lane, finishing around players with crafty layups once again with either his left or right hand, and overall I would just say he's very crafty offensively. He isn't necessarily the most athletic guy out there, but he does a really nice job at just being crafty out there and finding his own individual spots to score. But in terms of his passing and playmaking ability, although his numbers have gone down slightly in the averages, I would say overall he still looks great out there. He's just one of those special talents that has a phenomenal understanding of the NBA game and just does a great job at facilitating out there. He doesn't necessarily have the ball in his hands at all times, as the Thunder obviously have SGA, but when he has the ball in his hands, either if he's running with the bench unit or if he just has the ball in his hands in general, he does a great job at facilitating. And honestly, going forward long term, I do see him as being one of the better passers and playmakers in the NBA, a top 5 guy in that category. And when you have that type of ability, you instantly, at least in my opinion, become a winning player. So the fact that the Thunder were able to get this guy at such a young age is very, very important for their future going forward. I think if they're able to keep Giddey on their roster for the foreseeable future, alongside with a lot of the other guys they have, specifically SGA, I think the Thunder have an extremely bright future. They have a ton of draft picks going forward, they already have a bunch of different really nice players on the roster, and overall I see this Thunder team only getting better as the seasons do progress, and a lot of their individual players only getting better as the seasons do progress, like Josh Giddey. But if they're able to keep these guys intact for the long-term future, I honestly do think the Thunder will be competing for a playoff spot within the next season or two, and I think they're going to be a legitimate playoff team within the next 3 or 4 seasons. I think they already have a ton of promise on the roster, but I am very excited to see who the Thunder are able to draft going forward long-term as well. I truly believe in their front office and Sam Presti specifically, and overall I just think they have a very, very bright future going forward long term. But now the question is, what are my specific expectations for Josh Giddey? So as I mentioned before in the video, I am very high on Giddey. I think he's an extremely talented passer and playmaker that has an overall great understanding of the NBA game and is also improving his individual scoring ability. I think going forward long term, he's going to continue to improve that offensive ability, maybe improve from that 3-point range, add some more different aspects to his scoring ability as well, like that post turnaround fadeaway, and overall just refine his offensive game as years do progress. Now in terms of his passing and playmaking ability, I also expect him to continue to get better, even though he's extremely good at this point. And as I mentioned before in the video, I do see him as becoming a top 10 or maybe even a top 5 player in terms of that passing and playmaking ability. And if Giddey's able to do all those things that I mentioned, I see no reason why he wouldn't be a high-level all-star and maybe getting into that superstar category. But at this point, I would be confident to say that I think this guy is going to become a legitimate all-star type player. I just think he has too many different abilities and he's just too good not to get there, unless something really goes wrong for him along the way. But at this point, I don't really think that would happen. I think he has a great future. But overall, I guess only time will tell what does end up happening with not only Josh Giddey, but also the OKC Thunder. But I will say I am extremely excited to see what happens along the way. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Josh Giddey could potentially become an all-star type player long term, or maybe even a superstar type guy, or do you not think so? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy, check one of these 2 videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out guys.